For the third consecutive election, Taiwanese voters have sent a signal they want a leader who stands up to China. Last Saturday, they elected the current vice president and former independence advocate, William Lai, as their next president. Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party wasted no time responding, sending warships to intimidate the democratic island and criticizing nations who congratulated the new Taiwanese leader. What can we expect from the administration of the new Taiwanese president? And does this election keep Taiwan on a collision course with the Chinese Communist Party? And where does America factor in? Joining me now to discuss this, Gordon Chang, a distinguished senior fellow at the Gatestone Institute. He is the author of The Coming Collapse of China, and China is Going to War. You can follow him on X under the handle @Gordon G. Chang. Gordon G. Chang, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Thank you so much, Tony Perkins.
So your reaction to this weekend's election there in Taiwan?
Freedom had a great day, which means that Xi Jinping and the Communist Party had a horrible day. You know, William Lai, you asked, what can we expect? Well, he said throughout the campaign that his motto was going to be continuity. Continuity with Tsai Ing-wen, the current president. And, you know, Taiwan's on a collision course with China, but it's not because of the Democratic Progressive Party or William Lai or anything like that. They're on a collision course with China because of China. And even if one of the pro-China candidates had been elected on Saturday, there still would be a collision because Xi Jinping would be demanding that they surrender to China. And that's just not possible in a democratic society where people believe that they are not Chinese.
Gordon, you would, and I've met with some of the Taiwanese leaders, and I greatly appreciate their boldness, their courage, and I would think, I mean, they are looking to America for support, but I'm not sure they're going to find it in this administration. Earlier today at the World Economic Forum, Secretary of State Antony Blinken essentially said, we're working to maintain status quo. We want peace among all people. As you said, we might want peace, but I'm not so sure that's what's on China's agenda.
No, it certainly isn't. You know, we've heard a lot of bland statements from the Biden administration. They sound good to the ear, but during the 3 years, you know, we have witnessed the failure and catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan, Russia's attack on Ukraine, China and Russia fueling insurgencies across North Africa that look like wars, and of course, the October 7th attack on Israel, which now has spread to the Red Sea, the Persian Gulf, and the Indian Ocean. So really what has occurred is a failure of the international system under Biden. Yeah, they can tell us nice sounding words, but they don't mean anything because they're not backed up.
So Gordon, help us understand this region of the world and what is happening right now with when we see Ukraine. We've got the Middle East that is, about to spill over into probably a regional conflict. Quite possibly it has the potential. Do we need to be watching Asia now? Do we need to be watching China? Is there a potential for a move on Taiwan by China?
I'm really concerned because the Chinese can see the feeble responses of the Biden administration to all these crises and then believe that they can do what they want. Now, Beijing may be misreading the Biden administration. I don't know. But what's important is what the Chinese think. And I think they're getting the message that they have a free hand to greenlight all sorts of invasions around the world. You know, Tony, in 1939, there were crises across the world. There were wars across the world, and they merged into what we now know as World War II. And unfortunately, the same dynamic is occurring today. And I hope to God it doesn't have the same result. But we are on a momentum toward global conflict.
So timeline, when America's in an election, and I mean, two polar opposites when it comes to not just candidates, but the parties. The parties are identifying totally different on when it comes to foreign policy, national security. Does China make a move before there's a change, or do they wait to see if we still have the same leadership, same lame leadership next year, and then they have free reign?
You know, I think that if they believe that Biden isn't going to be reelected, that could very well be a factor pushing them toward war. But primarily, I think they're go, no-go decision is going to be based on domestic Chinese considerations. And we have some idea what they are, but the system has become more opaque under Xi Jinping, so we have trouble understanding. But we do see symptoms of distress in Chinese society, and that could lead to Xi Jinping deciding that he's got to go to war, regardless who gets elected on November 5. But clearly, this is one of those consequential moments in history, perhaps the most consequential moment.
Last question, we're up against the break, but China's economy, how strong, how weak is their economy?
I think that it's basically at 0% growth, maybe -1, maybe +1. It's nowhere near the 5.2% that the premier of China mentioned at Davos, because we see a lot of indicators pointing to negative growth. And we see deflation tightening its grip over the Chinese economy.
Does war help them?
That means there can't be growth.
Does conflict and war help their economy?
It certainly helps Xi Jinping, perhaps, because he needs to have something to distract the Chinese people from his failing domestic policies, which are, of course, the economy, but also other failing policies.
Gordon Chang, always great to see you. Thanks so much for taking time to join us today.
Well, thank you so much, Tony, and stay safe.
I will.